So basically, I realized I had to do marketing because I was not good at anything else. We have completed 50 years, and many of our trade partners have completed 50 years of associating with us.
With us.
We manufacture 4 lakh pairs a day.
Welcome to Flamcast, a space where we dive into everything marketing, mixed reality, and the future of creating unforgettable brand experiences. Today, we have Sean, Chief Marketing Officer at Paragon. He has over 25 years of work experience and shaping brand marketing for brands like Raymond, Aditya Birla, Samsonite. At Paragon, he's redefining how traditional brands should connect with ever evolving customers. In today's episode, we will be discussing about everything Paragon is doing right to make itself a household name in India. Welcome to Flamcast, Sean.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
As a girl from a tier 3 city, I have seen Paragon as a most trusted brand back in time. And it's so inspiring to see the evolution of old age brand and being relevant in today's time as well. While we'll deep dive into everything what Paragon is doing right, I want to start with understanding you better. So, as a marketer, what was that moment where you realized that you want to stick to marketing?
Uh, so basically, I realized I had to do marketing because I was not good at anything else. So when I was in school, in one aptitude test, and typically you do that in your ninth or 10th standard, when you're deciding whether to take science, arts, or commerce. My aptitude was leaning towards communication, and I remember that the the teacher actually wrote, who the person who wrote the test wrote, marketing, advertising, communication, PR, and these kind of things, like possible career options. And this is in the 10th standard. And at that point of time, I kind of was leaning towards becoming an engineer because my family is full of engineers, my uncles, my grandfather, etc. So I was a little disappointed, but then I realized that I really don't. I don't have the fondness for maths and physics and chemistry, bio, whatever. And somewhere I'm more of an outgoing person. I'm a social person. I don't have. I have. Some people have said that I have the gift of gab. I speak well. I don't have that fear of public speaking, etc., etc. So I said, yeah, maybe that's a road ahead for me. Although I did take commerce because anyway, that's a long story. But I realized that I don't want to become a chartered accountant or an accountant, like doing numbers for the rest of my life. So I had made up my mind very early on in life to do finish my degree, college or BCom, and you know do my MBA, branch out to marketing. Um, so uh, probably the aha moment was back in school. Um, when I was in my first job was with the agency. I mean, I started with Rediffusion. I worked on as a flunky on doing a lot of grunt work on many brands like Tata Motors, Taj, etc. And that was my first real exposure to marketing. So I used to interact with a lot of brand managers, senior people in marketing, and I would see the way they would operate, and I thought that someday I want to be in that chair.
Okay.
I want to be a head of marketing or a CMO, or at least some like a somewhere in that seat where I can actually drive marketing objectives, brand objectives at someday. And fortunately, life was good to me, so I'm here sitting here opposite you as CMO of Paragon. So yeah, things worked out.
So you have worked with legendary brands across categories. I'm sure there is some marketing principle that you have carried from Samsonite to Raymond and to Paragon now.
Yeah.
And there is some unlearning also must have happened. So what is that principle that you carried and what is that unlearning that you had to do with each of your stint?
The What I learned with Samsonite, being an international brand, I worked for the Indian operations. Samsonite was although Aditya Birla Retail was my first role in marketing per se, but that was a shorter stint of 1 year. and I was at a little junior role, like a deputy manager. Samsonite catapulted me to a brand manager role, actually a senior brand manager, and I had to do multiple things. So not just campaigns, advertising campaigns
Hmm.
or media, but even PR, visual merchandising, BTL activation. So many. It was like everything, uh, from pin to elephant, because it was a very small team, a very lean team with three or four of us, managing everything. So Samsonite was actually the learning ground for me, where I
Okay.
actually sharpened my skills. What do you say? The sharpen the saw, the tools of my trade. I actually picked up a lot of great learnings from Samsonite, working in Samsonite,
Hmm.
working with international teams. So we used to interact with the regional team in Hong Kong, or the global team who that time was based in London or Belgium later on. So global practices and all that. So that was a great learning for me. Um, uh, Unlearning was essentially I came from a media background. Like I spent 4 years in media, and then I jumped to Aditya Birla and then to Samsonite. The unlearning was like to not view marketing purely from the lens of media planning or media buys. So marketing is not about just about what you see on TV. I mean, those days TV is the main medium, was the medium. Digital didn't exist really. So, or very limited digital, was medium was. So it goes beyond just media. It goes beyond just putting spots on TV or on some website or banners or whatever. It encompasses so many different things.
Yeah.
And the biggest learning stroke unlearning was that how is marketing impacting business, and that's something I learned in Samsonite.
So Paragon legacy is a huge asset, and but nostalgia doesn't sell. So what is Paragon doing to stay relevant in today's time without losing its core values?
Uh, you're right. As in, people really don't. I mean, the, the consumers have moved on. I mean, they're not stuck. They won't buy you because of your legacy.
Yeah.
You need to be relevant to them all the time. Um, so what we are doing is we are not resting on a legacy alone. Uh, while we keep innovating in products and we keep introducing new products and new ways of keeping pace with the demands of the consumers, be it in open footwear or closed footwear.
Hmm.
Um, from a communication point of view, what we are doing is we are that's this the whole repositioning exercise which we started last year in a small way, and this year, this coming financial year, we'll take it in a really big way. Is basically it's more of what we call it a reclaiming exercise.
Hmm.
So we're trying to be you know um, kind of reclaiming our position as the brand which connects emotionally with our consumers.
Hmm. Okay.
So we've done some research. I mean, some qualitative research and a lot of quantity research also.
Hmm.
Especially when I came in, I immediately launched a few research studies to understand the consumer better,
Hmm.
and some
Okay.
qualitative research was done before I joined also. Uh, it basically showed that while you take it for granted that अरे ये तो चप्पल ही है, what's the big deal?
Hmm.
It's just a chappal, it's just footwear. Um, the kind of TG that we appeal to, and who's our core target audience, they are emotionally connected with that product, simply because their livelihood depends on it. See, for you and me, we don't. I don't think I can't. And you can't remember a situation where you'll say, "यार, मेरा चप्पल टूट गया," and then you couldn't go to work.
Hmm.
You'll just figure out an alternative.
Yeah.
It probably would have never happened to you, or would happen to you many years ago,
Yeah.
but not lately. But there are these people, the people are core TG. They actually depend on the chappal or their footwear to actually get them to work and to survive the whole day. Going all across. It could be the city. They could be a cab driver. They could be a delivery boy. They could be a retail assistant.
Hmm.
Those are our core TG. They're traveling a bus and auto and two wheelers, whatever. So for them, it's very important. It's very critical, and that's the emotional connect. That's why they trust Paragon, because Paragon is reliable.
Hmm.
Paragon's quality is something that they are familiar with. plus they are the older generation. So say if you're a 30-year-old
Hmm.
guy, your father would have told you, "Hey, Paragon best hai. I've used for so many years. So you should also use it.
Yeah.
This is reliable." And he's seen his father using it, so
Yeah.
he decides to buy Paragon, and that's what keeps us relevant. And our entire this reclaiming, repositioning exercise is to kind of reclaim that mind space in the with the consumer, that Paragon is always here for you, and Paragon is your kind of a companion, so to say, and so that the whole tagline "Zid chalte rehne ki,"
Yeah.
it's kind of it embodies the stubbornness of a and a determination. So it's in a positive way.
Yeah.
Stubbornness in a very
Yeah.
positive way.
Yeah.
It's determination, stubbornness to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Keep progressing. So that's
So
how.
yeah, so it is the zid chalte rehne ki looks like a more of a bold statement than a tagline,
Yeah.
like you also mentioned. So what was that moment you knew that this is what you want to do, that or this is your North Star?
Uh, this is of course thanks to our creative agency Turmeric. So uh, I mean they did a lot of they work with us, understanding the consumers, um, you know, in a much deeper way. So they didn't want to come up with just one line that like let's just like a tagline.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the easiest thing to do. That can be done in over a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
But they actually took a lot of time to understand the consumer better and understand the legacy of the brand and also what competition is doing and the entire environment, and not just the footwear category, what this country is going, how we are progressing as a country, what are the challenges that the people of this nation face, not the youngsters as well as older people. So what they are going through what the struggles that they are going through, and they so Zid Chalte Rahne Ki is not just a tagline like you rightly said. It's a philosophy.
A very bold
It's
statement.
a very bold statement. It's a
Yeah.
philosophy, and it is what we feel are very confident will connect very in a very at a very deeper level
Hmm.
with our consumers, and bring us the strengthen the bond that we have with the consumers. It goes beyond just a marketing campaign. That's what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So, when a company goes into a rebranding exercise and a 50 years old brand going for rebranding is a huge decision for any company, and they are loyalist from the target consumer side also, and from the company side as well. So, I'm sure there's a backlash moment that must have happened internally and externally as well. How did you tackle that?
There was not really a backlash. So, firstly, we've yet to do a, like I said, like major campaign to introduce this philosophy to our consumers. We did in a small way. We did last year.
Okay.
Last year is in this financial year, but March, April of 23, 24. Uh, there was, yes, there was a little bit of, you could call it skepticism internally.
Yeah.
That, you know, because the uh, prior to 22, we had, you may know that we had Hrithik Roshan as a brand
Yeah.
ambassador.
Yeah.
And we've gone through several different, and I would call it taglines only, which was, so our last positioning was "We touch every Indian's feet." It's quite a mouthful, and it kind of I don't think it really resonated with our core audiences.
Hmm.
And prior to 22, it the brand was the communication was very celebrity focused. So we had Roshan, we had prior to that we've had in the past Mahesh Babu, Samantha Prabhu. So earlier it was mostly South Indian artist, brand ambassadors. With Hrithik Roshan, the company decided to go national
Hmm.
and have so appeal to audiences across the country.
Hmm.
Of course, all this happened before I joined the company. 22, the management decided not to renew contract, and anyways, I was kind of joining in 23, so they gave the task to me that Abhi aap sambhalo, you decide, you come back to us with your thoughts, and let's have a discussion on whether we need celebrities or not. So that discussion on whether to take a celebrity or not, a brand ambassador or not, is still WIP, as in it's the jury's out on that one. Um, but so this, so the internally, people thought that is this the right way to move forward? Like you said, it's a very bold statement. It's a very bold philosophy. Should we make it? Will people get it? A lot of our consumers we are very strong in the south and in West. Maharashtra is one of our biggest markets, but a lot of it is in the south. We are, what about the consumers in the south? Will they get this? Even today, when anybody internally also talks about it, especially southern sales teams or dealers, it's zid chalte rehne ki. They kind of struggle with it, and then they ask questions.
Because
So
it's Hindi also, no? It doesn't.
sorry?
It's Hindi. It's a very Hindi statement,
Yeah,
bold
it's
and
a very
statement.
Hindi statement, but there's a reason for that. So that was the only concern. But end of the day, I think the internal stakeholders, all our directors, management, as well as um, heads of department, everybody agreed that we need to do something which is you know much better, which connects us much better to our consumers. So yeah, so that's we are moving forward with that.
So I think we are in a time where celebrities are not adding so much to the legendary legacy brands. However, nano influencers, nano celebrity, or community building are helping the brand to stay relevant in today's time, to in today's audience.
Right.
Uh,
Yes, definitely influencers are playing a very important role. Um, See, the argument could go either ways as to what role does a celebrity brand endorser play in the shaping of the brand or the positioning of the brand. Some brands have done a great job. Some brands not so much. They take celebrities, and people are smart because people understand that. Take a celebrity like you have three four big celebrities like we have Amitabh Bachchan or Virat Kohli, MS Dhoni. These guys are endorsing so many different brands.
yeah,
But lately, at least this is my observation, that it's typically the newer brands which are, latching on to the celebrities' popularity to build their awareness.
correct.
Whereas a brand like Paragon
Hmm.
we already there in the mind space.
Yeah,
We need to keep reminding the brand, reminding our consumers about what we stand for and what we offer to them.
correct.
And you're right. I mean, while we have not done enough work probably in the influencer space, we definitely intend to do a lot more in the coming
Yeah.
year. Uh, because we understand the importance of influencers, especially regional influencers. So and we have seen this. So we have done some activations in like for Pujo we did last year in West Bengal. Regional influencers connect a lot better with their audiences, their local audiences, and that's our TG.
Yeah.
That's our core TG. So this year actually our aim is to go a lot more regional
Hmm.
in as many languages as possible where our strong markets are.
Uh, we've seen that Indian culture is deeply rooted in storytelling. How do you weave Paragon's 50-year journey into campaigns without sounding too preachy to the audience?
Yeah, great question. So we are actually we're not doing any specific campaign around 50 years. For us, 50 years is a great way for us to connect with our trade partners.
Okay.
So we started in the month of Jan with dealer engagements, trade meets and events, etc. And we have harping on this the fact that you know we have completed 50 years, and many of our trade partners have completed 50 years of associating with us.
With us, yeah.
So it's more of that's the push that we're giving. While 50 years will be talked about in media through PR, through uh, you know various other initiatives, activations, branding, etc. Uh, our campaign will weave the story of what Paragon stands for, uh, it'll be focused on Zid Chalte Rehne Ki.
Hmm.
And you know so we want to communicate that this is what we really stand for. And also we've been present for 50 years, so we've been with you for 50 years, and we will continue to work with you for a really long
For
time.
another 50
Yeah.
years. You spoke about the two brands Paragon has launched 5 years ago. Does it have a Paragon branding per se? Because I've
Yes.
seen a
Yeah.
lot of rub off happening in the newly launched brand if you have a parent brand attached to it. I know there are pros also
Yeah.
that you build trust and credibility instantly,
Yeah.
but then there is a lot of rub off also happening in terms
Yeah.
of
Yeah. No, this gets asked to me multiple times, and um, I am the culprit for introducing this. So the earlier the brands were called Eakin and Stimulus.
Hmm,
I introduced Eakin by Paragon, Stimulus by Paragon. But it's not just purely my idea. It also came somewhere as a feedback from trade partners that um, new brands, unknown people are kind of skeptical about buying these. ये
trust.
कौन सा है, ये
Hmm,
unbranded है. So Paragon lends that trust. Now, yes, there are pros and cons, um, and the biggest con being that the parent brand's imagery rubs off onto the youth brand, and
yeah.
somebody might say, "Arey, Eken is a young person's brand, and Paragon Budde Loka brand hai," whatever.
Okay, Power's
Um,
brand.
that is something that we are, but what we've seen practically, and we have done this exercise about 2 years back, and
Hmm.
it has not really hampered our growth of these brands. In fact, both these brands are growing so rapidly that Eken, in the last, I think, 3 to 4 years, has
Hmm.
like less than 3 years, has almost doubled its turnover.
Okay.
It's a small base, but it has doubled its revenues just by introducing newer, trendy products. And so that by Paragon is actually not impacting the acceptance
But it
by.
is lending the trust which is
It is lending
required.
a trust. It is lending a lot of trust and assurance.
Yeah. So I've read that Paragon has gone to Flipkart and Amazon
It
recently.
is already available. Yeah.
It's already
Yeah.
available there. So is there any different strategy that you're adapting, like price strategy, design strategy, any strategy that you're adapting to resonate more with the online audience? Because the audience are also very different.
Yes. Yes. So what we do with our online consumers, for our online consumers rather, is so we have different design sense. So they have a different design sensibility, because so we try and keep up with those trends,
Okay.
which is present in all these marketplaces.
Got it.
We can't offer the same product which is available, say, at a multi-brand store in Malleshwaram to a consumer who's buying on Amazon or Flipkart or any of
Correct.
these
Yeah.
marketplaces. So we have a different product collection. The design varies, the pricing also varies, and we have to keep pace with other competitors in that space, other brands in that space.
So we, during the start of the interview, we did speak about how marketing is evolving and the times are not same. How do you balance the grassroots marketing with the new age marketing like AI and mixed reality coming into picture? Have you done any experiments with the tech-driven experiences?
Um, yes. So the thing is that for brands like us, you know, there's the pull in by the trade community to do traditional marketing, right? So it's the number of requests I get कि यहाँ पे होर्डिंग लगाओ, यहाँ पे wall printing करो, यहाँ पे बस में branding करो, you know. And on the other hand, because they have a certain perception of what will work.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you have new age marketing ways of marketing your brand and using new tools and platforms, largely digital platforms, which cannot be escaped. I mean, you cannot escape those things. You cannot
Yeah.
avoid it, bypass it, because that's critical
Hmm.
for your consumer. And I think so. It doesn't matter. So I keep telling this to people that today that uh, that divide is gone. That social media was at one point probably only an urban phenomenon. It's all across, right?
Yeah.
I mean, with what 700, 800 million people using the internet,
Yeah.
and they're using Facebook and they are using Instagram also in
Instagram.
their own languages. So it's all relevant. We have tried to use. In fact, this is one of my um, targets for my team and for myself to use much more, many more of these tools, especially Gen AI and other tools, AI related tools to create more interesting content
Yeah.
for our for all three brands
Hmm.
in the in the coming year, uh, because we've realized that uh, this adds a lot of value to your campaigns and to the content that you're putting out there. So while we haven't done, and we've done some bit of it with say a platform like ShareChat last year, but uh, we need to increase our frequency of that, and that's what we plan to do in the coming year. Definitely a lot of AI tools to generate content on a much more frequent basis, and it's stunning the amount of stuff that can be done and much more cost effectively.
Okay. So, consider that you have like a lot of unlimited budgets to create something which is futuristic, like tech innovation, AI sizing, or MR try-ons, or personalization. What would you build?
I think the one of the biggest pain points, for most consumers,
Mm.
and you may have read about it, that India is coming out with its own size chart.
Yeah.
So in footwear and apparel both,
Mm.
and I think it's just a couple of months away, and I think it's a great initiative. It's going to be expensive for us also because we have to change our molds, which is a huge expense.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest pain points for consumers is sizes, right?
Hmm.
Today you have UK, US, European sizes or whatever, EU
Yeah.
sizes. um, and you know क्लोज में क्या होता है कि थोड़ा शर्ट लूज है, थोड़ा आप
चल
चल
जाता है.
जाता है. Footwear is something that if it's too small or too big, it is an inconvenience and you have to live with it for the entire day. I mean,
Yeah.
or whatever. So you'll, and it can cause you a lot of pain, right? And it can actually hurt your, not just your foot, but your back, and it can cause you a lot of problems. So I would definitely, and I've tried this in my previous stint in Raymond also, to, like to customize solutions for if I had like Elon Musk kind of money. So to give customized solutions to each consumer, you can make your own shoe, and there are certain niche brands probably doing something of this sort, but it's really expensive.
Yeah.
I've done it recently for my mother. It's more of an orthopedic thing, but for regular consumers, like customize a shoe, not just the design, but also the size, and maybe like if you want a different type of heel, sole, etc. So that would be really, and we could, I mean, it's I think it's around the corner, but the problem with all these solutions is scale, right?
Hmm.
Why these solutions fail, and I've seen in my previous organization also, it doesn't, or rather it does not, I'm not saying it fails, it does not succeed as much as we hope to, is because of scale.
Hmm.
Unless you can sell lakhs of pairs, right? We manufacture 4 lakh pairs a day,
Oh.
per day, 4 lakh pairs. Now if you tell me that ये तो सिर्फ 10 pair per day है, suddenly the management is like, "Yeah, why should I bother?"
Yeah. Of course.
You know,
Yeah.
so scale is what makes a lot of difference.
Okay. Uh. So we are going to move towards. I want to understand your building team at Paragon, your marketing team. I wanted to understand how do you get to work a Gen Z with somebody who has 20 years of experience on a same campaign
You mean within my team?
within your team?
So here I don't have so much of a problem. I have, I think, there's one Gen Z in my team, one that of that generation. I am, of course, a Gen X, and then there are some millennials. Fortunately, haven't had a disparity in Paragon, but in Raymond, yes, I had it. I had the disparity, and it is quite a challenge to make these two groups meet, and see eye to eye, because they have very different work culture.
Yeah.
Like, the older guys. I mean, I'm talking about when I was in Raymond, I had a team where somebody was 10 years older to me, reporting to me,
Okay.
and so they come on time, they want to leave on time, they have certain this thing, they have certain ethics, and the way they do their work and all that. And well, the younger guys don't want to, follow certain, they're like, calm se calm, like, as long as you're okay, I'm getting the work done, what does it matter? So it's definitely a challenge to get these two people, these two groups together. But I think the thing is that if you give them a common objective and motivate them, it's easier said than done. But if you can motivate them and give them a common objective, they somewhere they see that they can, even if they can't agree, they agree to disagree and work together.
With this, we are wrapping our insightful, beautiful conversation with you, Sean. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for coming to Flamcast.
Thank you. Pleasure being here.
Thank you.